Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Inside Lines podcast. I'm your host, Atoya Burleson.
And I am Tia Avril.
Coming up a bit later in the show, Tia and I will be getting into a new segment. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about what's going on right now. Tia, what's up, girl?
Girl, you know, I'm in the thick of things, in the grind of the sports with the kids and the conferences and breaks and all of that. So just trying to keep my head above waters. Oh, I didn't even tell you, I did go to this brunch. What was a breakfast, girl? The dang on thing started at 7 a.m. But the Seattle Sports Commission, and they are responsible for like bringing big sporting events to Seattle area. They had a women in sports leadership breakfast.
Love.
Yeah, it was extremely dope. I'm sitting here thinking, okay, 100 people, 800 people there at 7 a.m. Yes, and the topic in general was about investing. So whether it's investing in yourself, investing in women's sports, athletes, whatever. And they had some amazing speakers, chatted with some dope people that I can't wait. Talk to them about the podcast and coming on.
Okay.
So we're going to have some nice little guests here soon. But yeah, I forgot I had went there. But what's been going on with you? I heard you had a busy weekend.
I did, girl. I've been in 3 different states in 2 days. Nehemiah had his last game on Friday before the playoffs started, and they won. So they ended up undefeated on the regular season. And so now they go into the playoffs starting on next Friday. And, you know, the reason I'm so proud of him is because he was honored with a plaque at the last game from the Super Football Conference. And it was a plaque. It was called the Young Man of the Year Award. And it was basically for his leadership on the field and off the field in community and as just a human being in general. And I was so excited. I didn't know he was going to get it until the day of. The coach emailed us and told us that he was receiving it and not to tell him. So he was pleasantly surprised before the game started. So that started off a great weekend.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats,
so then they won. And then we went from there. We got up the next morning and drove all the way out to UCONN. Nehemiah was invited on the trip to check out the UCONN football team, see if he would potentially be interested in going there. And he lived his dream. He had a great time being on the field, meeting the coaches. And then from there came back, girl, that night, because the game didn't end, I think, till like 6:37. Got back late that night, got up the next morning, was at Nickelodeon Slime Time with Mia. So it's been a crazy weekend. And Mia was getting ready for her Halloween episode. She got her little outfit together. She looks so cute. I can't say what it is, but y'all will see if y'all watch Nickelodeon Slime Time on Wednesdays. So, but it was fun. It's been a busy weekend, but good for the kids. And, you know, just cheering on my kids, just helping them to live their best lives, basically.
I love that. Love it.
Yeah, so that was our weekend. And now we need to get into our next segment because this is something that you really wanted to do. So why don't you talk about it?
Okay, so let's get into this new segment. So each week we'll be highlighting an amazing event, athlete, executive, etc., doing some amazing, dope things for women in sports. This week, we have to send a huge congratulations to the Las Vegas Aces for winning back-to-back WNBA championships. The Aces took on New York Liberty, taking home the chip 3-1 in a best-of-5 series. Now, this is the first WNBA team to win repeat championships. And granted, WNBA has been around for 21 years, y'all.
It's crazy.
It's still young, and they are heating up. Atoya Burleson, of course, won Finals MVP. And, you know, a few people felt like she should have won MVP for the season. So, way to run it back for her. Now, what I will say, the highlight for me this WNBA season has been watching all the clips from New York Liberty's Ellie the Elephant. Toya, have you seen any of her clips?
Of course. Nate and I were at that final game between the Aces and the New York Liberty. Actually, we ran into Ari Chambers, by the way.
Did you?
Also ran into Sandra Douglas Morgan, female president of the Las Vegas Raiders. There was a lot of people there. The owner was there from the Raiders. But anyways, saw all of them, but loved seeing Ellie the elephant. Because when I say that is a gay man in that costume, and he be getting it.
Okay, you think it's a man.
If you go in person and the dancing is one thing, right? Uh-huh. But it's the antics and the walk around. Right. And like when you see them, you're like, you know what? That could be like some, you know what I'm saying? Somebody you know. I'm like, I think it is. I really do. But Ellie be getting it. You
see, I definitely think, I'm like, it's definitely a black girl. Or I was like, whoever it is, it's a black girl. But now I got to find out, because you're right. I have not seen Ellie in person getting it. But now I need to figure out if this is really a man. Be killing it, okay? And literally, my favorite clip of her was her doing the water dance. Who was this? I can't even think of the artist, but her and two other dancers were doing a little something doing the water dance on TikTok, and I was like, okay, Ellie, and I had to follow her because now I got to see your clips, okay?
Ellie's the truth.
But make sure y'all tune in next week to find out more amazing, dope things happening with women in sports.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Let's get into our next segment. This is a really fun podcast episode for Tia and I because it's just us two. So for all the new listeners we have, this is a way for y'all to get to know us, our personalities. We do amazing interviews with amazing women, but this is a way for y'all to get to know us, to ask questions, to reach out. And we're going to ask y'all some questions too as we go through these segments. So first, y'all, we're going to start out with our hot take. And Tia, you got the first hot take, right?
Yes. Okay. So this hot take it'll be structured just a little bit different, but we have got to talk about Jada, right? And not in the way that everybody has been talking about for the last few weeks. But if you have been under a rock, you know that Jada just released her new book, Worthy. And I haven't listened to it yet. Have you checked it out yet, Toya?
I have.
You started listening?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll have to run it back for y'all and make it another hot take where we actually discuss the goings on in the book outside of this. But all of Jada's interviews and stuff, people have been talking about their marriage, kind of like how she treats Will, yada, yada, yada. But one of the biggest things was her discussing the fact that her and Will actually been separated since 2016, right? So 7 years. And it made me think and ponder just a little bit about the pressures associated with being a celebrity couple, and not just being a couple, but being like couple goals, right? You think about, I need to confirm how long Will and Jada has actually been married, but for years, people have looked at them as like, this is Black love, this is couples goals, like this is true definition of power couple, right? And through the last few years, when you think about kind of like the conversations that's been happening on Red Table Talk to Will's book and now Jada's book, you've quickly realized that their marriage is not perfect, which surprised, like who was really surprised that it's not, right?
It's not really their marriage is not perfect, is their marriage is no more. As far as like what it looks different.
Yeah. So I wanted to chat with you, Atoya, just about, like I said, pressures of being a celebrity and being what some would consider couples goals. Like, do you ever feel like you have to present some sort of front, whether it's a united front or whatever, about your marriage and your marital experience for everybody else, like for people on the outside looking in?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say I've never really first of all, I don't think people me and Nate ain't on the forefront like Jada and Will or other couples with hashtag couples goals. I don't think personally. So maybe for that reason alone, I've never really felt like I needed to do that. And here's how I feel about stuff like that, especially in social media. I feel like social media is not a place that you go to for couples goals, family goals, any type of what you wish or you feel like you desire in life, because you're only getting the highlights of what goes on in their life. You know, nobody's going to put on Front Street the difficulties they're having in their family, in their marriage, in their relationship. on social media, because that's not necessarily what it's for. And I think people have to realize that. I don't go to social media saying, well, let me go see if Tia's having problems in her marriage on social media, or let me go see if Will and Jada is you don't do that.
Even though people be putting it out there though sometimes.
Yeah, they do. But usually it's like, it's not necessarily a marriage. It's like messy couples, people you don't want to be like, let's be clear. So I would say, no, I don't feel like I need to put on a front. I do feel that in any relationship, you're going to go through problems, period. It doesn't matter who you are. We are all human and we're all aired in one way, shape, or form. And when I post things on social media, it isn't always necessarily even for everyone else. Sometimes I like to get the reminders of something that happened 3 years ago, that whether it's with Nate and I or a family, whatever it is, right? So I don't think that that's what it's for. And I think people need to understand that. And even when you put couples that are celebrities up on a throne, you still have to understand that they're still human. They're going to make mistakes. No one's perfect, including them. And at any time, things can come crashing down. It doesn't matter who you are. You are not, that person that gets a free pass of making mistakes.
Okay, so follow-up question.
Okay.
So outside of like social media side, right? Like we know social media is highlights, right? But when you think about just kind of like, you and Nate, y'all been together for an extended period of time.
Right.
When you think about kind of like how you present, whether it's like you all going out to events, whether it's how you are with extended family or teammates, you know what I mean? Like going to team events and stuff like that. Did you ever feel like you had to front like y'all situation was something that it wasn't?
No. I don't think so. I don't think I never had to front. First of all, I like going out, okay? So even if I have a problem, I can listen, if I have a problem with Nate, even if I'm out and Nate does something,
I'm just not going to talk to you. I'm going to go.
Listen, we can go have a good time. We'll talk about it later. I don't let issues in my marriage affect me to the point where I can't function. Right. And I think that that's how you have to see things. You have to have a sense of an emotional intelligence where whatever you're going through is not forever. It is a conversation you can have later, even if it's something that happens in that night. I'm not going to act a fool. I'm not going to tear it up. I see what I see. If we need to discuss it, I'm going to talk about it later. I don't have to.
In the night, what? Like something that took place was you guys being out and about or something?
Like say he irritated me or he did something or he said something like, or he took too long or he kept talking and it's time to go. Whatever it is, I don't feel the need to just react in a negative way and make it the most important thing that's happened throughout the night. You see what I'm saying? So for me, like I can be like, note to self, put it over here. When I get home, we'll talk about it. Or the next day, when we're both sober, because don't do it when you're drunk. It always ends wrong. But definitely I can now, and maybe it's because we have been together for so long, I can talk about it later. I'm okay with that. And, there's nothing that's going to, unless it's something that's like blatantly disrespectful that happens, maybe I would react in the moment of like, whatever. But if it's something that I don't feel comfortable with, I feel like I have enough emotional intelligence to deal with it at a later time between us. What about you? Do you feel like you can hold it in? You think you can hold it together?
It depends on. Well, it depends on what it is, right? And I do think I don't necessarily think it has anything to do with emotional intelligence, but I do be feeling like sometimes I can remember an instant, like a situation where I felt so disrespected and I was so angry, but we had to go to an event. Like it was an event that our foundation was putting on. So there was no like me being like, you know what, you got this one by yourself. Like I had to go. And one, I am about business first, right? So I'm not going to just like not go and stay home, even though emotionally I want to stay home, right? Like I don't do, and like, so that has happened. But I wonder, because I do think, I I never felt like pressured to front like a situation was what it was, right? Or was, whatever. So even in going to an event like that where I'm like, I didn't even want to fucking be here, I'm going to smile and stuff like that. And we may split the room and attack the room separately. You know what I'm saying? And like nobody would have any idea as to what happened, right? Because I also, to your point, not that we're super secretive or whatever the case may be, but I got some sense, right? And everything is not for everybody. And you know what I mean? So everybody don't need to know, oh, I'm mad at him tonight. I feel like he did this, and he's the same way where he's like, everybody don't need to know that
I'll deal with it later.
We are in the midst of an argument and we literally had to stop a point and deal with it later, right? But I think about Will and Jada. And like I said, people have been putting them on this pedestal for years, right? And like painting this picture. And I just wonder how crumbling or how silencing it could feel to be like, y'all got us up here and really we like amongst everybody else, like, and not to feel like, and to be in a situation where you feel like you can't even be honest with experiencing that, right? Like it is on the island by yourself kind of thing.
Yeah. I do think, and I truly believe this, there is a level of privacy that you have to have within your marriage and your family. So whatever it is you're going through, you have to trust that person that you love and that you're in the relationship with will allow you to go through it with them and them alone. It's not for the world. And I think that when you understand that, marriage is sacred. And it's not for you to give everybody your every single piece of feeling or emotion and express that to them, because they can't help you solve it. And when you keep a level of sacredness within your marriage, it does help you to navigate it in a more peaceful way that doesn't have to do with couple goals. It doesn't have to be with the world. But you both have to be in a space where you feel the same way and you move in that unity. If you don't have that, you are going to succumb to what the world tells you who you are and what you're supposed to do.
And what your marriage looks like. You know what? I'm glad. Okay, so I'm glad you said that, and we'll move on to the next topic that you have. But I'm glad you said that, because I do think, one, I think there's a power in sharing your story, right? But I also think there has to be a balance, right? Because marriage is so sacred, and marriage is unlike any other relationship you will ever have, right? So like, yes, in one vein, like, be honest with your experience. So one, other people who may be feeling the same thing or experiencing the same thing can be like, oh, okay, well, they navigated it this way. Maybe we can try it, right? Because at the end of the day, you still got to do what works for your situation. But to your point, there is a level of keep it in the house, keep some things in the house, and we can figure it out and work it out in a way that works for us.
Absolutely.
I like that. Okay, let's get into the next topic. Go ahead, Toya, you got it.
Our next topic we're going to talk about is parenting. What type of parent are you? So if you are a parent, I hope you've done a little bit of research and kind of figured out like the different types of parenting that's involved, right? So there's all of these different topics of what type of parents you should be when you're around your kids. And we all fall under one genre or another. Helicopter parent, authoritative parent, the gentle parent, the permissive parent, or even I'd say the authoritarian parent. Tia, if you were to look at your parenting and you look at these different titles that are associated with parenting, what would you say is your number one parenting type?
Okay, so before I share mine, for people who are not familiar with the actual categories, you want to give a quick rundown of what each one is?
Okay, so the helicopter parent is just that. It's the parent that basically is always hovering over and around their kids. They don't allow them to move independently of them.
Make mistakes.
Yes. The authoritative parent is like, it is my way or the highway, right? I'm the authoritative figure.
Okay.
This is how you're supposed to move. This is what you're supposed to do. These are my rules. You abide by my rules. The gentle parent, and that's kind of a new thing. People are talking about that now with the new millennial kids, being gentle in what we say and how we say it, and making sure we don't hurt anyone's feelings. That's the gentle parent. Then you have the
sorry with these voice changes.
I know. The permissive parent is the parent that just allows their kids pretty much do whatever. They just they don't have really any backbone. They just allow their kids to just, and they act like they don't see what they do, but they be seeing, but they don't say nothing. That's the permissive parent. Okay. And finally, the authoritarian parent is, I say authoritarian parent is a balance of a parent that gives you rules to follow, but still allows you the freedom and flexibility to move on your own independently and make mistakes, right? So you have a bit of guidance along the way. But you are still your own human being. You're not always looking over your shoulder and wondering if mom's going to come swat you upside the head. So I would say, so Tia, when you see these different parenting types, where would you say you fall in the different styles?
Okay, so I am more of the last one.
Okay.
The authoritarian.
Authoritarian.
I swear I graduated, y'all, but y'all know I be spelling stuff, but pronunciation sometimes be a little sketchy. Anyway, but I am I'm more of a balance, right? Because I did grow up with a very authoritative parent where it was like my way or the highway, these are my rules, girl, bye kind of thing. And I wasn't really a sneaky kid, but I never told her anything, right? So I would ask for permission to do stuff, but just life challenges or whatever that I experienced, she was not the first person I would go to for that, right? And I did not want that for my kids, right? I want my kids to feel like they can come to me with anything, that they have some autonomy over themselves, their lives, But then also, I don't want to cripple my kids into leaning on me for everything, right? You have to be able to problem solve as an adult, right? I don't want my kid to be 18 and I'm like, okay, well, you're on your own. And even though that won't happen at 18, maybe 25. You're on your own and they don't know what to do, right? They don't know how to encounter challenges and move through them effectively.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the, gentle, I'm not a gentle parent, okay? That's not quite my parenting style. I know it's a new thing. I've tried it a few times and, my kids be testing the limits too much. So I got to give them a little more structure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Toya? What parenting style would you say you fall under?
Yeah. Okay. So for me, gosh, that's a tough one for me because I feel like I've kind of been a little bit of everything, right? Depending on how old my kid was when my first, I was definitely helicopter. I feel like in the beginning, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And I wanted to make sure he was okay. And then you kind of get comfortable in your role. And then I think I became more of the authoritative parent. I think I said those backwards. Sorry. The authoritative parent is the one that's kind of sets the rules, but allows them to move how they want to move. But then I felt like middle school, they tried me a little more. So I had to be the authoritarian. What did I say? Because in middle school, they going to try you. They're going to be like, you know what, mom? I don't appreciate you. So I had to be more of the authoritarian. And then I was able to then shift back to being authoritative. But let me tell you one thing to your point, Tia, that I will never be is a gentle or permissive parent, because I don't feel like as Black parents and Black mothers, we have the freedom and flexibility to move in permissive ways with our kids or gentle parenting. Now, I feel like there's a place for gentle parenting, and when it comes to the way you talk to your child and dealing with their emotions. But when you're dealing with someone making mistakes and doing things, you have to be very real with them, because that's the way it is. So I would say for me, I'm definitely authoritarian now, but I would say back in the day.
You mean authoritative?
Hold on. I'm sorry, authoritative now. I'm authoritative now. Sorry.
So,
authoritative is rigid rules. Authoritative is I'm sorry, authoritarian is rigid rules, do it my way. or the highway. Okay. Now, authoritative is like, although I'm sitting at the top, I'm still giving you the freedom to move around.
It's a balance.
So it is a balance. So I would say I'm definitely more authoritative.
And I fit under that one too.
Yeah, I know. I knew exactly when I started thinking about, like, I fit in that one backwards. So that's my bad, y'all. Authoritarian is the rigid, my rules only, do it my way. I don't care how you feel. Authoritative is, okay, here's the rules. You can go be you, but think about these things as you're making your choices. So that would be the different roles for me. Do you think that you changed roles, Tia, over time in how you parented your kids? Or do you feel like your parenting style has pretty much been consistent throughout the years?
I think it's pretty much been consistent because I just remember growing up in general, like when people have certain behaviors or certain things happen and they choose to make a certain decision, there's always a reason why. And so like remembering that, like with my kids, I'm always like, okay, well, you acting a fool. Now what happened? You know, so like okay, well, these are going to be the rules. Right. These are going to be the rules. Okay. And like, you know, just like getting their input on stuff. Right. Yeah. Because I want my kids to be effortlessly, like to be able to live life effortlessly, right? And like not be anxious or scared to make a mistake or mom said this is the rule and yes. I don't want them to be like that. And if I set rules according to their natural styles, then naturally they'll fall into play. Like, you know, they have to be intentional to break my rules, you know, if that makes sense. Yeah, it does. It absolutely makes sense. I think it's just great as they get older. I'm always the why kid. I'm like, so what happened? Why'd that happen? Tell me why you did that. You know, one thing I told my kids, and I felt like it was important for them to know. No, you just wrote in his floor and you knew I didn't like it. So what happened? Sorry, go ahead. No, one thing I was going to say is I think it's important for kids to know, and I tell my boys, and I tell all of my kids this, but especially my boys because they're older. You know, I always tell them I love you no matter what. Because I don't want them to think that my love is conditional based on what they do, number one. And number two is I want them to move into a space where they feel comfortable failing by stepping outside of the box and doing something great. I don't want you to be so careful that you're afraid to step outside the box. And when you fall and you make mistakes that you can think, rebound, get back up and be greater and be better. And so I always wanted them to move in that. And I think when you become more of that rigid authoritarian figure, you do keep them in a box of, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm too afraid to do that. Who's like, you're basically, when their lens could be so bright, you have narrowed it down to where they're looking out the peepholes of what they can really do in life. And I wanted my kids to live in freedom of that. I really did. So that was really important to me. Yeah. Okay. So you just said that and it made me think about something, but I was talking about this with my best friend from high school because her mom was also very strict and like whatever. And it's very interesting because our parents in general can be very strict. And then you turn 18 and for some 21 and they're like, okay, well, you grown now. Bye. Right. And so they expect you to do life and figure out life and be able to do certain things because now you're grown. Right. When in all actuality, you didn't learn a lot of things because you weren't allowed to. I'll give you an example. Like my kids go to private school here and we went through curriculum night or something for the first time. And one of the parents was like, oh, okay, well, I don't like that. Whatever the curriculum was for math. Okay, I don't like that. I'll meet with the math person, whatever. Because we need to be looking at XYZ math style, whatever it is. I'm trying to be generic. And I was looking like, you just gonna go to the school and tell them what curriculum you want? And then I sat there for a second. I'm like, yes, you can. You can dictate what you want your kids' curriculum to be, because not only do you pay tax dollars, but you are paying for this private school. Like you have the autonomy and the authority to be able to do that. Yeah. I never thought about that, right? Because I'm like, well, these are the rules, so follow the rules, you know. And it's stuff like that where I feel like if you don't give kids a voice young, like I can insert myself and do this, and I can speak up for this because I don't think this is right or whatever, then they become freaking 20-something-year-old people still learning how to do that. And I didn't want that for my kids.
It's true. Do you remember back in the day, everything was like, well, I can do that because I'm an adult. Well, you can't do that because you're a child.
Yeah.
And that is not reality. Like, to your point, you allow your kids to do those things as they get older. So then when they become an adult, it feels comfortable. They have no problem doing it because you've allowed them to express and practice those things. It's so important. And I hope parents get that.
Exactly.
Allow your kids to express themselves and say and be who they are. Because if they become comfortable with it around you,
and advocate for themselves.
Yeah, they'll become comfortable out in the world. All right, y'all. You ready, Tia?
Bing. Bing, bing.
What's next on the list?
Yes.
This is a good one.
So the next topic I want to discuss is pressures associated with being married to a professional athlete. Okay, so this question came from a clip from a podcast, Love You More. I think it's called the Love You More Show. But Shanita Foster was on there. And Shanita, for those of you who are not familiar, her husband, George Foster, used to play in the NFL. We actually crossed paths with them as a Detroit Lion. But Shanita was sharing a story where she got called into this like group meeting, like with other women. And so she's thinking this is like some sort of, I don't know, a Bible study group or whatever, just like a group, like a support group. And the lead woman told her, or told the group in general, like, I don't care what go on, leave your husband alone until Tuesday. That basically Tuesdays are the guys' off days, and that means any other day. So Wednesday through Saturday, they're preparing to compete on Sunday. They're competing on Sunday. They're rehabbing on Monday, and Tuesdays they're off days. So if there's issues in the house with you, the marriage, whatever, save that mess till Tuesday. And Shanita admitted that she did fall into that kind of like routine of like stifling herself. If there was issues with her marriage or things that she was having trouble with, she didn't bring to her husband's attention. Okay. And so when I thought of it, I was like, oh, ding, 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 ding. Like when I saw that clip, I was like, ding, 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 whatever. But Atoya, did you ever fall into that routine?
Well, first of all, I never heard that before because that sounds crazy. Let's be clear.
Okay.
Never heard that. And a very interesting take that you would wait till Tuesday, their off day, to dump everything on them. I think that that's actually backwards. Let's be honest. On his day off, I want him to actually relax and enjoy the time he has off. Now, but that's just me personally. And maybe that's Shanita. Like I think about when Shanita came into league, that was probably maybe before us. And so maybe she got that advice for some older women who were there before her. And so it's like older advice. But you have to be careful with what advice you get, right? There's a level of, well, they had good intentions, right? That can be delivered to you. And then there's a level of that is solid advice. So you got to weigh your categories. She had good intentions in telling me that. Yeah. That was not solid advice.
But did you ever, when you thought about, or when the NFL season was going on, whatever the case may be, were you ever processing some stuff like, okay, he got a lot going on right now. It's the middle of the season. He had a rough day. The coach was on him. Fill in the blank, whatever. I'll leave him alone today. Or I'll leave him alone this week. Did you ever do stuff like that?
I would say yes, but not to that extreme. Like if there's something to talk about, first of all, I'm a talkative person. Okay, so we're gonna talk, and it's not talking in the sense where I'm dumping on him. But I think when someone comes into your house after a long day, even if it's me, you do need a minute. Right? Give you a minute. You have a little bit little time to decompress. But like we're going to talk. And I think that dumping and or telling them about things, it could just be a delivery. It could be how you say it, what you say. But I never felt like I had to hold on and not say anything because it was going to affect how Nate played. Like, let's be clear. I don't have that much power. Like,
really? You didn't feel like that even in the beginning?
No, that I had to hold
I
on.
100% did.
That you had to hold
Yep.
on to everything? And you thought that was... Okay, so let me say something else to
Yeah.
you. For me as an athlete, okay, I was an athlete in college. And I was a competitor. And when I went out to compete, I wasn't thinking about what somebody told me on Wednesday or Thursday when I get in the blocks. Like, that's not how it works. So that sounds crazy to me. But that's me as an athlete, right? So I never thought like, ooh, I can't tell Nate that, because if I tell Nate that, he's gonna drop the ball. Like, no, I didn't think that. I never did. But that's just me personally. Tell me why you thought that.
So I thought that, and I honestly, there's a lot of women that also process it this way too. And in all actuality, like Cliff literally has never said like, oh, don't do this. It's the middle of the season. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it was like this unspoken situation, right? Where no, it's not like we talking on Wednesday and this is going to mess up Sunday. But it was like okay, well, he got to deal with all this mess, whatever. I'll just save it. And then the next day, you'd be like, the coach yelled at him. Oh, Sunday, he didn't have a bad game. Like, let me just like not say anything. It was to the point where I had full blown postpartum depression and he had no clue. Like literally even like up until last week. I mean, he knew before last week that I had postpartum after my first, and I had it after my second too. But the stuff that was like going on in my mind or whatever, I was just like, okay, well, he is like right now his job, like he is the breadwinner. Like he is the only person generating income here. Let me do everything that I can do everything that I can think of to make sure he is mentally and emotionally and fill in the blank supported, and let me not dump my stuff or things that are going on that is bothering me on him. Now, that was like to the extreme when it came to, like I said, postpartum or whatever. Now there was some stuff I'm like, okay, dude, now you got me messed up. Like, you know what I mean? And I would say something. So it wasn't like a complete, like, whatever. But it's very interesting. Like, even when we went through marriage counseling and stuff we did counseling while we played, but after he played, the counseling sessions have been very eye-opening for him, because he was like, I had no idea. And I talk about it with other women, and they also felt the same way, that they were just like, yeah, I mean, like, he was the breadwinner. You have to make sure he is good when he walks out this door. So like, don't just dump or share on him. Now, Shanita's situation is to the extreme. Like, I do think back in the day, I think people were more, or like, maybe some more of the veteran wives and
don't say it.
Fill in the blank. I do think exactly.
Yeah.
Very old school about it. You know, like, I doubt anybody would ever say that now, or even instructs anybody to do that now. But the notion of he has a lot going on, just wait or hold it, don't say anything, I definitely fell victim to that. And it was not my husband doing it. It was me. It was like, and I'm using this language because, self-work, but I'm just like, I literally gave my power away in that sense. He didn't take it. I literally gave it away. And like undoing that now. But yeah, when she said that clip, I'm like, nobody told me that, but that rang bells. I wholeheartedly did that.
You know what? This is a perfect, I think it's a perfect segment into our next question. Because I feel like in listening to what you said, you've already answered my question. And the question is, what type of wife are you? Are you the nurturer, where if he has a need, you meet it? Okay, so are you the mothering wife, where you make his breakfast in the morning, you manage his calendar? Are you the little girl where you can't do anything, you're damsel in distress? Obviously not. Are you the bossy wife, where you tell your husband what to do, you give him the to-do list and boss him around? Are you the super wife, where you feel like you need to do it all? Or are you the husband-centered wife, where you're solely focused on your husband?
So, okay, because those are very extreme words. So I am like super wife, where I feel like I had to do it all. And again, which we talked about before, I feel like I had to do it all because I wasn't generating the income. So I'm like, if we're if we are partners, we got to be here, right? Like, and y'all can't, those of you listening on podcast platforms, equal, right? And to me, equal is, okay, well, if you're working hard to bring in the income, I can work hard on everything else, right? And make everything else smooth, whether it's kids, household, moves, fill in the blank, right? But with a little bit of sprinkle of husband-centered, right? Because I'm like, which I feel like anybody that, if you're married to a professional athlete, it is husband-centered, because you always have to take in consideration their schedule, their season, and then you can plan life around it. So I think I'm a combination of the two. Now, I'm trying to move into my soft girl era a little bit. So I put a little damsel in distress in there, here and there, a little bit.
That's now. That's post football.
What about you, Atoya?
Post football is damsel in distress. Help
That's
me.
post football.
Rapunzel, let down your hair.
Post football is like damsel in distress, because one thing that I did experiences like, growing up, black mom, whatever, they are always like, you be super independent, you have your own, you do your own thing, you don't take no ish from nobody, like very much so. It's my way, right? Yeah. And my mom was like that with my stepfather up until he passed away. And Cliff is wholeheartedly not that way, right? Like, he is alpha man, like men are, because he's Haitian and that's a part of their culture, like men are the head, right? And so we did like a lot of button of heads trying to figure out what really worked for us. And for right now, what works for us is a combination. Like, I am super strong and opinionated and all the things, but sometimes I got to be a little damsel in distress, a little bit, just a stroke, just a little bit. What about you, Atoya?
I love it that you're a damsel in distress now. This is I would have never thought that, but I love it. I'm loving that for you.
Sometimes.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
It's hard. You got to be intentional. It's hard, girl.
Then you're not a damsel in distress.
You got to try really hard to be a damsel. Look, you got to fake it till you make it. Okay, what about you? What is your wife style, so to speak?
Gosh, I'm definitely super wife. I do it all. I've done it all. I packed us up and I moved us, twice a year all the way through the NFL. So, and Nate didn't have to worry about it. Whether we were in Detroit during the season, he went to Detroit and he played football. I packed up myself and my 3 kids with 8 bags and flew on a plane and was there, set up shop, make sure everything was good, celebrated Christmas. Right after Christmas, tore that tree down, packed up all the bags and went back, to Seattle. So I was that super wife that did do it all. And I feel like I still do that. Not in football, but because Nate's in media and he does what he does, I'm kind of the main person that makes sure and navigates. I'm the CEO of this household. So I make sure that Nate's good. I make sure the kids are good, everything that they have. I move through that and I pride myself in doing that. I enjoy it. It's just who I am. And if I were to pick a second person to that, I would say a nurturer. I love writing notes. I love speaking into my kids' life. I love reminding them of who they are, no matter what they're going through. And Nate, telling him like, this is not who you are. This is who you are. I am that person. And I think that I am that person because if you look at your own life as a child and what you navigated through, you tend to fall into a pattern of doing what wasn't done for you. And for me, I felt like, and I'm not saying that because my mom wasn't there, my dad wasn't there. They were both there and they did a great job with me. But I understand the power. I was a psychology major. I understand the power of speaking into your kid's life, speaking into your husband's life. I understand the power of writing notes and reminding someone who they are. I understand the power of just loving on people in a way that where it helps them to be great. And so I try to move in that. That's just really important to me as a mother, as a wife, and as the head of this house in the sense of like making sure everything's done. That is part of me, moving in that CEO. Now, Nate, he goes out there and he gets it. He makes sure that we have everything that we need. He keeps excelling in his career and it just works for us. I think, him being the head of the household, it works for us. So I would say those two, the super mama and the nurturer are like my top 2 for sure.
Nice. Okay. Well, that was fun. I
That
like the
was.
the hot take situation.
Yeah. All right. So we got a kind
Okay,
of
so
a
before
double
we get
2-minute
outta
drill.
here-
We got a double?
Yeah. Yeah. A double. 2 for ones. Okay. So each of us are going to go through and do a 2-minute drill. So Atoya, you go first. You ask me your 2-minute drill questions, and then I'll do you.
Okay. Winning the lottery or finding your soulmate?
Winning the lotto, because I already found my soulmate.
Test the waters or dive into the deep end?
Girl, test the waters.
Comedian in a serious film or a serious actor in a comedy film?
Comedian in a serious film, for sure. I laugh at everything. I will find a joke, okay?
Okay. Instagram famous or infomercial famous?
Okay. I'm going to say infomercial famous, because you know for sure if it's an infomercial, you making money. Instagram, you hit or miss. It doesn't necessarily mean that you generating income just because you Instagram famous.
That's true. What's your favorite vacation?
Oh, that makes me so sad. My favorite vacation was going to Israel. Oh, gosh, and we ain't gonna even get into all that hoopla, but my favorite vacation so far has been going to Israel.
Would you rather be cherished or would you rather be respected?
Respected.
Would you call yourself messy or tidy?
Oh, tidy for sure. If something is messy, I can't even think straight. I can't even function. So,
yeah, same. Do you believe that there are second chances at love?
ooh. Second chances at love. I do. I do think there are second chances at love.
Okay. Do you arrive
And
early
I'm not going to elaborate.
or late?
Girl, I am late, okay? I am late all the time. And it's not because I'm not up early and I'm not prepared the night before. It's because in my head, I think I can put a load of laundry in and put the dishes in the dishwasher before leaving out the house every time.
Okay. Expensive gift or homemade gift?
Expensive gift.
Do you prefer
Bring me that
looks?
expensive gift, okay?
Do you prefer looks or personality?
I know, and I'm sitting here trying hard to pick one. Okay, I'm going to say personality. Because if I like your personality, you can be cute or attractive to me no matter what.
Okay. And last question. What's something people, especially our new listeners, may not know about you, Tia?
Something our new listeners may not know about me. Okay, I feel like that's a hard one. I feel like I'm going to take longer than 2 minutes because everybody know I love to travel. I love a little passport stamp situation. Oh, something people don't know about me. I'm a big procrastinator. I procrastinate. There you go. Boom.
There
Bing.
you go. Love it. All right. Ready?
All right. Boom. If you were getting a tattoo in the next 30 minutes, what would it be and why?
Well, I have no tattoos. I want to start there. But if I were to get a tattoo, it would be something with my family because I love my family.
If you were, if a billionaire gave you 1 minute to shop, what store would you choose?
Sheesh. A store? I would.
1 minute.
Okay.
What store would you choose?
One store. Okay. I would choose I don't know, maybe a designer store with everything in there and I could just grab it all at once.
Okay. What do you have your spouse saved as in your phone?
Nate, hubby, a lion emoji, and a black king emoji. Lion King. He's a Leo.
How many unread text messages do you have?
Well, right now I don't know because I'm on D&D. But I do not like red on my phone, so I clear it out any chance that I get because I'm OCD.
Okay. So say you're going out and keep your word or cancel plans at the last minute.
Keep my word.
Okay. Laugh or cry in a serious situation.
Ooh. Like a movie or like...
Anything serious. Even in real life, would you...
I'm a laugher. I would laugh first. Yeah, I would laugh first. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are you uniquely competitive about?
Everything. It could be something, a game
okay,
we're
one
playing.
thing that is unique.
Unique. Well, I can't say family and I because that's not unique. I would say driving on the road. I call myself the Black Danica, and I take driving very seriously. Don't judge me.
Okay, what's your bad habit?
It's a good and bad habit, but I would say multitasking because I can open up many tabs, and I think that's something I'm competitive about. Like I have to check them all off before I go to bed. But it's a bad habit because it makes
you got to close the tabs.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, secret keeper or my BFF has to know?
Ooh, I would say secret keeper. I have so many friends, and not all my friends know all my friends, so I would say secret keeper. For sure.
This is the last question. Name one thing you've regretted. Yes, what?
If I was to go, I would say nothing, but that's like everybody says that. But if I would say one thing, I would say holding on to my baby, my oldest son, Nate, just spending a little more time with him before he left. I miss him so much, for sure.
Got it. Bing bong. Okay, that was fun.
That was. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. That is our show. For the latest on the Inside Lines podcast, make sure to follow us at Inside Lines Podcast on both Instagram and Facebook.
You can also listen online and share your favorite episodes at our website, which is insidelinespodcast.com. And if y'all don't know by now, we have a YouTube channel. That's right. Follow us at Inside Lines Podcast and make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you get all the notifications when the new episode comes out.
Until next time, leave it all out on the field. Thanks for listening.